I have a beautiful woman in the studio who has done so much, impacted a lot of people in the community and where she comes from, and she's doing great exploits, great things, and she's here to tell us and discuss about her journey. Nyarie Mashayamombe, good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, Marisa. Well, that I was like listening and I'm like,
is that me?
What are we talking about here?
Are you talking about me? Have I done that?
I'm just, wow. Yeah, thank you.
And you have done a lot, Nyarie. I mean, I remember I've known Nyarie for a long time. She's like my friend.
Yeah.
And just watching your journey and you unfolding everything that you believe in. The biggest thing that I like about you is that you believe in something, you push for it and you go for it no matter what anybody says. So we want to start obviously with your organization Tali.
Yes.
Tag a Life International. What is Tali about?
So, well, thank you so much, Marisa. You're very kind. I mean, like I said, just listening, you're like out of the body experience. You're like, okay, are they talking about someone? Let me listen about this person. But it is always a pleasure to serve, to serve people, to serve women.
Yeah.
So Tali is all about women, girls and young women's rights, girls and young women's issues, addressing inequalities, building confidence in women and girls, assisting and letting them know that they can be anything, especially from backgrounds where we come from, where sometimes negative religious and cultural practices hold back women and girls from achieving what they want.
Yeah.
So ideally, I get to think about these things a lot. And I said, why did I start? Because sometimes you get in the mix of things, and sometimes you're like, I'm gravitating towards something and I am becoming about something, but why did I really start this work? So for me, the work has always been about reminding the woman, reminding the girl that you can be anything.
Yeah.
And God has given you all that you need to be anything.
And I guess it also kind of gravitates toward a calling.
Yeah.
Like, you know, your calling in that kind of aspect. If you don't do it, then who's going to do it?
Absolutely.
You see? So I really appreciate that. And, you know, obviously talking about Tali, I did ask you, it's been running for a long time, and asked you what impact that organization has made in our community, for example, education. What impact has your organization made?
Absolutely. I mean, one of our legacies that we've built is seeing girls and young women being in leadership, being confident, different programs. But as you ask, we have created a legacy where we managed to advocate for the Education Amendment Act in Zimbabwe, where after seeing a lot of girls being susceptible to early and forced marriages or gender-based violence, really, because they were not going to school, we realized that why are our girls not going to school when the Constitution in Section 75 actually says it's the responsibility of the state to make sure that children go to school. So we actually saw an opportunity there to advance the access to state-funded basic education. So we pushed for that law as Tali under the campaign called Every Child in School, and we worked with many organizations in Zimbabwe, a lot of coalitions that had also been doing similar work, and we pushed for the law, and we had amazing champions in parliament that actually pushed for that law, and the president signed that law to become an act of parliament. So that's actually a legacy that we're proud of.
It really is, Nyarie. I mean, hearing you talk about that, I'm just seeing war. Like a war, the kind of barricades that you face, because you have to, this is a thing that you're fighting for things to be changed. How, on your journey, what challenges have you faced trying to get these things done? I mean, especially also as being a woman, your voice, how have you managed to say, Ababa, I'm not backing down? Because some people will be like, this is not my thing. How have you managed to do that?
I think, as you said, you used the word calling. If you have a calling upon your life, you will not be settled. You not rest until something is done. It's a burden that God gives you. It is hard. It is hard because you're misunderstood. A lot of spaces think that, you can be labeled. It's difficult. You just want to wake up and be a darling. Nobody wants to be bad or not to be liked. We all want to be liked. So when God gives you this burden, it's hard. So every day, you sometimes also get to a place where you sometimes have self-doubts, and then it is important to be a person who's connected to God and remind yourself to say, why am I doing this? Is this
and
a real
who's
issue?
my source at
Yes,
the end of the day?
My source is God.
Yeah.
And is there a real need? Is there a cause? But then I'm reminded of that scripture that says, is there not a cause? There is a cause. Are children needing education? Yes,
Absolutely.
they do. Are girls vulnerable? Yes.
Absolutely.
Are there people who don't want this issue addressed because they're benefiting from it, from the vulnerability of girls? Yes. Those are the people that don't want me to do it. I need to do it. But the
it's
biggest,
a constant reminder, basically.
And the biggest challenge sometimes is actually the women. When you don't get support, I mean, the women are the ones who are most vulnerable. The women are the ones who are actually being downtrodden. That's spoken about down upon. When you don't get support from women and you're actually standing for women, that's the biggest
becomes
hard.
a problem.
I mean, I don't have it is a problem because I can understand men wants to keep hold power. Some men, not all. But when you don't get support from fellow women, especially in the community, because then people be like, kanamwana abuse, or when the child then goes through abuse, or when the woman goes through abuse, when it happens to them, that's when they say, oh, I never used to understand this, I never used. But it's painful because you're only coming because it has happened to you. But how about you begin to empathize?
Exactly, and start before.
Yeah,
anyways,
so
there's so much, and thank you for your strength in actually doing this. But let's move on to your next thing, identities media. So this is like the world of media. When did this start? Did it start before Tali, after Tali, and why did you want to have that aspect of your life?
Amazing. So at one point, I asked myself, why am I doing what I do in Tali? I was going through a phase. I went through depression of these things are real. And also some of the challenges, issues of funding, whatever. And I'm like, funding for the work that I do. And I'm like, so media really was an opportunity. And I said, why do I do work with Tali? I do this work because I want to tell women and girls that you can be anything. And I asked myself, am I being anything?
Okay.
Am I economically empowered? Am I independent financially? No, I'm depending on donor funding, and sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. So what can I do? And so there was an opportunity in media, a business opportunity really to say, I can then use media to amplify the work that I'm already doing, but I can monetize the media, and hence identities media. It is an opportunity to amplify the work that we're doing. It is also pretty much almost the same because women don't have access to media because of the sexualization, objectification of women. So it became an opportunity. So I get to do it, whether funded or not funded, but it's something that is an opportunity really to do good, but while making a profit.
And making a profit out of it. And obviously with Identities Media, it's like a new baby has just come out of that, which is what we want to really discuss today. And it's the List Awards.
Yes.
So tell us about the List Awards.
Da-da-da.
Are you very excited?
I am so excited, and I'm so blessed that I get to do things that I believe in. What you said earlier. So the List Awards is a product of Identities Media. Why the List Awards? The List Awards are to honor individuals like myself in the proper way that we must be honored. So the List are to honor, these are new awards that are supposed to honor our community champions, people who have done great work, like the work that I do in the community. But then we want to bring them to the glory to say, thank you, Nyarie. You have done well for our communities. And you had it. I told you that I survived. I'm a survivor of depression because of the work that I did, because of the trauma. The people that work in our communities, the champions of communities of change, sometimes they never have any, they are not working on salary. They're
not appreciated.
They're not appreciated. They're misunderstood, as I shared. So we want to honor these individuals and say, we see you, thank you. And the way we want to honor them, I have a way that I want honored myself. I want to be brought to the awards where I sit in the glory and I don't have to think about paying anything, because awards out there asking us to pay something. Nyarie Mashayamombe, you've been nominated for this awards, however you have to pay this amount. No, if you think
I understand you were nominated and actually declined.
Yes. And this year there's an award that came at a price tag, and I said, no, I'm not doing this. That was the Zim award. There was a regional award again in Africa that said that I just stay away from any award that
makes you want to pay for it.
I'm saying, if you think I deserve an award, pay me the money. So that's what the list award is
That's
supposed
what it is.
to
It's
be
celebrating
doing.
you.
Yeah, it's celebrating us. So we want to do something that celebrates people. My desire in my heart is that when these individuals that are community champions come to awards, they must leave the table with man.
Yeah.
Because I would have wanted. There are also international awards that we work hard for. We fight for, which brings you to the table. You leave the table with 5,000, 10,000, 50,000. This is the idea.
Yeah,
Because we say these people
Yeah.
want to support their work. So when we celebrate an individual who is a community champion, they must leave the table with money, not take their money. No.
Yeah.
They've been giving of
to
themselves.
actually help them do better.
Yes.
So listen, before we run out of time,
Yeah.
some of the awards that I'm just seeing that are listed, you have the Business Impact Award, Humanitarian Impact Award, Climate and Environment Impact Award, and all of these awards. So how are we choosing who deserves that?
Great question. Also, one of the things that Zimbabwe is grappling with around awards is the issues of transparency, accountability, and the how. So the board, the list awards board has set a selection committee that's got nothing to do with Secretariat or myself.
Yeah.
So just because Nyarie, it doesn't count for anything. There's an entirely independent selection committee that has set up the framework, that is responsible for the nominations. There's going to be the jury. There's also going to be the vote. Some awards are going to go to the vote. Some awards are going to be just the jury, because we also want inclusive awards. There are
for everybody who are not
out there
known,
who are doing, or fathers out there who are doing kuchipinga, kuchimani. They are not on social media. There are categories that the selection committee has said we will not take to but there is a selection committee of people of integrity, and we are also hoping to work with an audit firm so that everything is above board. Yeah.
Okay, so how do we nominate? If I want to nominate, say, Grace or something, how do I let you know? Where do I go? Are you on social media about this or what?
Nominations are open on the lists, awards by identities, on our Facebook page and on our website, the list.identitiesmedia. That's the website. So the nominations are actually on the website. You go there, nominate yourself, nominate somebody who deserves. Oh, by the way, 10 awards are for Zimbabwe.
Okay.
10 of them are for Zimbabwe, and then 2 are for Southern and East Africa.
Oh, wow.
So,
I did notice that on the flyer as well.
Yes,
Such inclusivity, going in line with even...
And we're trying to take the Zimbabwe brand to the continent, because also we're saying Zimbabweans, we've got ideas, great ideas, and we want to also bring people to Zimbabwe to go out there.
Yeah, and it's very good. Thank you so much, Nyarie, for doing what you are doing, impacting the community, impacting people's lives. You're like changing people's lives. Don't ever take it for granted. God is watching, we are watching, and I give you my award, my high five award to you. That's all the time we have this morning for Morning Rush. Nyarie, thank you for joining us. As I said,
thank you for having me, Marisa.
And as she did say, Identities Media on social media. You will find every information that you need to find on the list awards. So please, let's support Nyarie with this. Let's support her in everything that she's doing. She is a powerful voice to the community.
Konapo, Ipapo pa ZTN Prime, DSTV channel 294, the place to be.